Hi everyone, welcome back. So we are going to move into discussing some of our poses. We did talk in the past about our resting poses. We have talked about our breathing, and now we're going to talk about warrior series, warrior flows. So we're going to be discussing warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3, and going through each pose and kind of learning a feel for it and proper posture and what you need to know about each pose. We will start here this afternoon, or whatever time of day it is that you're watching. We're going to start here at the top of our mat, as if we were coming into our mountain pose, rocking back and forth and side to side, taking a moment there to grip the mat with our toes. Relaxing our toes back to the mat if we'd like, or maintaining that grip. Moving up to our knees, making sure that we have a micro bend in our knees, engaging the muscles in our thighs and our backside as we do so. Moving up, now we're focusing on our lower root lock, our mula bandha, engaging the muscles down low in our core. Now moving up to our belly button, feeling as though that's being pulled towards our spine as we engage those core muscles. Now shrugging our shoulders up to our ears, but gathering up all that stress and tension we've been carrying around with us. And releasing those shoulders, allowing our shoulder blades to slide towards one another. Shoulders are now away from our ears. Focusing in on the crowns of our head, feeling as though they're being pulled towards the sky on an imaginary string, lengthening our body, coming into our mountain pose. From here, we're just going to do a little bit of our breathing, our pranayama, ujjayi breathing, deeply in through our noses and out of our noses. Breathing in, deep, fresh, clean. Exhaling all the negative stress and tension. Taking that breath deep down into our belly. Holding and exhaling. I'm going to do a couple of warm-ups here, beginning with bring our arms up. Inhaling, palms together. Exhaling, bringing those to heart center. Inhaling up. And heart center. Inhaling, warming up those arms, shoulders, necks, movement to breath. Coming back to our mountain. Inhaling, looking over our right shoulder. And back to center. Over our left. And back. Inhaling, taking our right ear towards our right shoulder. And exhaling back to center. Left ear to left shoulder. And back. And this next one, we're going to inhale, tucking our chins in. We'll exhale down. Inhaling, tipping our chins up and back. And back to center. We're going to take our arms out in front of us and reach around at our backside like we're holding a beach ball. Shoulder blades are being drawn towards one another. Chests are out and open. We're going to clasp our hands Interlocking those fingers, drawing those shoulders even further down and closer to one another. We can stay here, or we're going to tip over in our forward fold, bent knees if we'd like, drawing those fingers towards the sky. Inhaling back up. Releasing back to our beach ball. And coming back to our mountain. We're just going to warm up those legs and arms with some swan dives. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, swan diving, bending those knees. Fingertips are grazing the mat, bending our knees on our way back up. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Again, movement to breath. Opening up those arms, shoulders. Getting those knees a little bit of practice. And exhaling back at our sides. All right. So, I always want to start with a little bit of a warm-up before we move into any poses. First thing we're going to talk about is our Warrior One. With our Warrior One, we're going to start at the top of our mat. We're going to take a step back with our right foot. How far back just depends on your comfort level. If you step back and you feel as though you're not going to be able to maintain your balance at that with the step that you've taken, you can bring your foot in, or if you feel like you didn't step back far enough, you can widen your stance. It's going to be up to you to find the proper stance for what is comfortable. Once you take that step back and have that stance, we're looking at our ankles, our heels. The left foot in front, you're going to line up the heel of your left foot with the heel of your right foot. So it should be like an imaginary line from heel to heel. When you look at your right foot, your toes of your right foot should be angled towards the corner of the room. Toes of your front foot are going to be pointing towards the front of the room. Naturally, our body is going to want to face that corner of the room the way that our foot is pointed. But what we're going to do, we're going to focus now on shifting, squaring those hips forward. So you want to square forward. Your hips are now lined up with the front of the room. Shoulders are down away from our ears. We're pressing in with both of our feet equally to help distribute that weight evenly. And we're going to inhale our arms up. And then as we exhale, we're going to bend that front knee so that it's over the front ankle. You don't want to get it any further than over the front ankle. So we're not flexing forward. We're bending it just to the point where it's over our front ankle. We want to focus again, making sure that those hips are still squared and that we're pressing in with both the front and the back foot. Core should be engaged as we are in our Warrior One. You can look up at the sky or forward. I know a lot of times if you have problems with vertigo, looking up is not going to be your friend. Or if you're like me and you have a lot of issues with allergies, sinuses, sometimes you can't do that. If this position is difficult for you to maintain with your arms straight in the sky, we can bring them down to field goal arms, or we can bring them to our sides. Just want to feel that pose. Normally, when we come into our warrior position, we're going to hold there for at least 5 breaths, nice deep breaths. And you're going to feel that in the back calf, the back thigh, your front thigh. You want to maintain that position, if you can, for 5 breaths. And then on our next breath, we're going to take our arms and we're going to turn them. We're going to windmill, basically. We're shifting now. And we're going to take, and I'm going to actually turn for this one. I'm going to take that front foot, still pointing those toes towards the front, towards the wall. Your back foot now you're going to shift. So instead of those toes being angled towards the corner of the room, your toes should be pointing straight at a side. You're going to line up your front heel with your back arch. So now you're going to take a look and just make sure that that alignment is like a straight line going from your front heel to your back arch. You still have that front knee bent, so it should be, again, no further than over the front ankle. The back leg is going to be straight. You're pressing down evenly, again, distributing that weight between the front and the back foot. And now you're squaring your hips to face the wall. When you are in your stance here, if this is too deep of a stretch for you, you can always back off of that to whatever position is best for you. You're squaring your hips. Now we're taking our arms out at our sides. Fingertips are going to be pointing towards the front wall, towards the back wall. And we're going to be looking over our shoulder, over our fingertips for our warrior two. Again, pressing in evenly with both the front and the back foot in order to help distribute that weight. Should be engaging the muscles in your arms and keeping that core as tight as we can. Pressing through with our breathing, deeply in through our nose and out of our nose. And we're holding these poses again for at least 5 breaths. In our warrior two. From warrior two, we're going to move into our reverse warrior. So we're going to take that right hand, we're going to bring it down to the right, the back of the right leg. Taking the left hand, we're reaching up to the sky. We can stay here, or we can stretch a little bit further if we'd like. But focusing again, if you can't maintain that bend, you can, straighten that knee to whatever point is comfortable. But you definitely want to make sure that you don't bend any further than over the front ankle. This is our reverse warrior. And you can stay in this position with your looking forward, or again, shifting your gaze to look up at your fingers. And we're trying to maintain as much of that posture as we can, comfortably, pressing through. You're going to be feeling that burning in your front thigh and your back leg. That whenever you get to that point where you need to take a break, remember, we have resting poses. You can find that resting pose. Coming up out of our reverse warrior, we're coming back into our warrior two. And for these purposes, we're just going to straighten that front knee. Bring our hands down. We're going to turn those toes forward and just walk back together up to the top of our mat. And then in our yoga practice, we usually, almost always, if we do it on one side, we're going to do it on the other side. So in that flow, we stepped backwards first with our right foot. So you would want to do the same thing again, but opposite. So we're starting back in our mount, and this time we would take a step back with our left foot. We would drop that heel down, lining up that front heel with the back heel again. Same imaginary line. Toes of the back foot pointing towards the corner of the room. Noticing that our hips naturally want to turn towards the corner with the toes. So we're going to square those hips forward. We're going to engage the core. We're going to inhale our arms up. And we're going to exhale. Bring that front knee again over the front ankle. Taking a moment, making sure that we're pressing in with both the front and the back foot. That our hips are squared forward. Shoulders are away from our ears. We are either gazing up at the sky or forward. As we breathe through our warrior one, we can bring, again, our hands if we need to field goal, or bring them at our sides, hanging onto our hips. Maintaining that pose if we can for 5 breaths. And we're going to shift, taking those arms, reaching out at our fingertips, taking that back foot now to line up the front heel with the back arch. We are taking our arms long at our sides. So if we look at this from a different position, arms are long at our sides, fingertips reaching, toes of our front foot pointing, going to whatever position is comfortable for us, but reminding ourselves not to bend that knee any further than over the front ankle. Pressing in with both feet, arms are engaged, core is engaged. Our hips are squared forward with the front wall. And we're breathing. And reversing that, reverse warrior, taking that left hand now to the left thigh, reaching up with that right hand towards the sky. We can go straight or we can reach. We can look up at the sky or we can look forward for our reverse warrior. Pressing in with both feet. Really trying to focus on keeping an engaged core throughout our yoga practice. Inhaling back to warrior two. We're going to straighten that front knee, bring those arms down, turning the toes of that right foot as we step back together to the top of our mat. So those are our warrior poses that we're going to talk about in this particular class. Warrior one, warrior two, and reverse warrior. I probably said 3 at the beginning, but I was wrong. Warrior one, warrior two, and reverse warrior. So keeping that foundation of pressing in with both feet, making sure that we aren't pressing and pushing too much on our joints. Don't overextend your knee, and maintain as much as you can with that engaged core throughout all of your poses. So if you have questions or concerns, anything that you'd like to discuss, please make sure that you send a message out and we'll get any questions or concerns that you have answered. Thank you for joining me again for this particular class or lesson, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Remembering that we can accomplish more together than we can apart. Namaste.